Jake, thank you so much for having me to this incredible studio. I was telling you, I love your work. It's so unique, and I want to talk about your process. But first, when did you fall in love with art?
I would say it was actually really late in life. Probably 29, 30 years of age, I think is when I started painting. And my lovely wife got me into that. I had too much time on my hands. She bought me a sketch pad and some paint. Just kind of started from there. I really fell in love with the actual process of painting. I wasn't great at the beginning, but just going through the process, teaching yourself how to paint. Well, I should say teaching myself completely. She, again, had a lot of input on my pieces, what worked and what didn't, but just, yeah, over and over again practicing and, again, just loving to paint. It's a huge outlet, stress reliever at the time.
So how did you learn your technique? Because it looks like, I mean, your aesthetic is so interesting and unique. So how did you kind of hone that?
Really, it's still kind of bizarre to this day. I never go in with any real directive on paintings. It just kind of evolves. Starts with lines and circles and things, and then the canvas usually tells me, or I'll see something in it, and it just kind of goes on from there. So it's like a story that I start writing that kind of finishes itself out as we go through the painting. And it's never really changed from the beginning. It's always starting with, again, no real direction of a painting in mind, but it seems to work itself out by the end of the painting.
So do you have to be in a certain headspace to start a piece because you don't really have a direction?
Absolutely. I think for me it's more, I go in spurts of wanting to paint. You know, I'll go months and months of painting constantly, and then like these past 3 months I haven't been painting much at all. Been prepping this studio space and whatnot, and I really haven't even had a desire to paint until about the past few weeks. So I'll probably go over the next 2 or 3 months and just paint constantly. So it really is up and down for me with painting.
How do you describe your aesthetic? Because I was looking at all of your work in preparation for this interview, and I thought, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
And that's a great answer because I don't know either.
Okay, good.
Yeah, some people have called it figure-like expressionism,
Yeah.
or figurative abstract works. But yeah, I've gone through all the books and looked at all the descriptions of different types of art. I'm not sure it really fits into a specific category.
So tell me about your process. I know you said that you don't start with a direction necessarily, but it's kind of shapes that then...
Yep, a lot of times I'll just start with either white or black canvas and use the exact opposite color, white or black, and then just lines, circles, things, till I start to see something taking shape. And again, it can be anything. You can turn into a flower, an animal, a chicken, a face. So really, as it's evolving, I start to see things in it, and I kind of go with whatever the canvas is telling me to do.
Well, and what's so interesting is that sometimes it's not just an animal, it's an animal with several things within it.
Yeah.
So is it just like, I don't want to say autopilot because that makes it sound like it's not hard work, but is it just coming out of you?
Love characters. So as a kid, my childhood was a little bit different than I think most people. I was homeschooled. My dad was a minister, so we would be in church a lot. We didn't get to do the things like carnivals. And sometimes we'd even do tent revivals where the carnival would be happening at the same time just across the way. So I was very interested in things like Ferris wheels and clowns and things like that. So you'll see a lot of that kind of stuff put in there.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe wanting to go back to those days and being able to go to the circus and whatnot. So now they're playing out on canvas for me. And I just love to interject all kinds of little people and things for people to see in the paintings and find later down the road when they didn't notice it first, maybe.
Yeah, so even this piece right behind you, I've looked at it for a solid 10 minutes now, and I keep finding more pieces. So is that sort of part of the appeal to you, is to add those layers?
Absolutely, yeah. I love to hide little characters, see if people can find them. So absolutely.
How much of your art is about expressing yourself personally, and how much of it is for the consumer?
I think it's all for me personally at the beginning. I think the consumer either will fall in love with it or not, but I think most of the art is pretty much for me when I paint it at the time.
So from start to finish, a large piece like the one behind you, how long does that take? And can you stop and start, or is it the kind of thing that you have to power through?
Definitely stop and start. I think this
Okay.
painting probably took 2 months, but it was off and on. I would get frustrated with it, or not frustrated with it, but bored with it maybe at times and start on something else. So the process is quite long for big pieces, but if I sat down and just would grind through a large piece, It really is hard to say. A couple weeks maybe if I put dedicated time into it and specifically focused on that. But
Tell me about the media you use. You mentioned the black and white canvas, but what specifically do you use to create these pieces?
everything. Anything I can really get my hands on. Honestly, it's always been that way for me. Starting out, not a lot of money, so I would take anything. I would go to auctions and buy tons of stuff. I went to an airplane hangar once and bought a bunch of airplane paint, which turned out to be a horrible idea. Super toxic. The wife's like, get that out of my basement. I was painting the basement at the time. So yeah, just anything I get my hands on. I still do that way today. I'll use oil, acrylic, spray paint, all kinds of different things.
Yeah, I noticed some of the
Pastels a
spray
lot.
paint. Yeah.
So just anything I get my hands on that's fun, that's the color I want at the time. If it's close by, that's what's getting used.
Do you ever find yourself going into a piece with an idea and trying to shake it? Like, no, I wanted to, to just create.
Absolutely. Florals are something people ask me to do a lot, and for some reason, I'm just not a big floral fan, so it is hard. And I will go in with
I
an
wore the wrong
absolute
shirt.
directive. And sometimes Becky will be like, what happened to the floral? She'll come back and there'll be a face where it was supposed to be a floral. So it is hard at times to try and paint. I have a real hard time with commissions as well. When somebody gives me a directive, it is painful for me to try to do what they're
Sure.
asking.
So once you fell in love with art, did you start diving into other artists' work, or was that something that you didn't really even necessarily want that influence?
When I first started out, I would go to the library on a consistent basis and just sit in there and just browse through artist after artist. So I was looking for different styles and whatnot through artists, but I think I got most of my influence from local artists here in town, like the Terry Ratliffs, the Tim Johnsons, going to their shows and seeing their colors and whatnot. So I think it was a little bit of both, but I think I'm more influenced by the local artists than the big artist.
That's interesting and also good to hear, because I wanted to ask how you feel like Fort Wayne has been supportive of you personally and artists in general, or has it been?
It has been. Fort Wayne's one of the weirdest towns that I know of where the art community really supports one another. Terry Ratliff really, again, I keep going back to that name, but he was one who really got me big into getting my first shows, had my first show for me at a gallery, actually saw the potential, as well as my wife. She's big in the arts and has been for years and years and years. So yeah, definitely being pushed by other artists, and the art community is great too. I mean, Fort Wayne has one of the strongest art communities, I think, for the size of our city. I think per capita we have some of the best artists, and the community's just thriving. I mean, you see what's going on downtown with the murals and just big art everywhere. It's really changing, and it has in the past 15 years. It's really cool to see how the leaps and bounds we've taken with the city. The art's coming right along with it, I think.
I couldn't agree more. Even just driving to your studio today, I haven't gotten to this area in a while, and I thought, oh my God, so much has changed just in the
everywhere.
last few months.
Yeah, it's great to take a bike ride through downtown. You're just going to see so much art. Yeah,
Yes.
it's quite stimulating.
Do you ever try something that you're excited about, and aside from the airplane paint, which clearly didn't work out, but do you ever try something and go, well, that just was not what I was going for? Or can you find a way to kind of make it all work?
Yeah, even if they don't work right away, I'll set them aside, I'll come back to it. But yeah, there's times where I've tried to go in and just not loving the piece. And on a lot of my pieces, you'll find too that the back side of them have paintings on them, like 90%. So if I don't like something, I'll just flip the canvas over and start again on the other side. So
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of artists who tell me that the hardest part of painting in particular is knowing when you're done. Do you have that, or do you have kind of a sense of this is it?
I struggle with it horribly, but again, my wife's great at it. She's like, stop messing with that painting. It's perfect. You're going to ruin it. And she's been right on time, so I've continued to paint on paintings, and they just get wrecked. So she has a great eye. She can tell me when it's done. Or sometimes I just know when they're done as well. But on the ones I struggle with, she gives me pretty good advice on when to quit.
So I take it that being married to someone who is also an artist has been a good thing rather than a frustrating thing.
Absolutely. Couldn't have done it without her. Honestly, wouldn't be here today without my wife. And again, the local artists that help support me.
Yeah. What is the hardest part of your process?
That's a good question. Probably be just getting motivated when I'm in a slump of wanting to paint, getting back into painting, getting back in the studio. It can be a grind sometimes, but again, once I get into the flow of painting again, it comes back pretty quickly and I'm back into enjoying it.
Has it changed for you significantly since it became a business? Does that take some of the joy out of it for you?
No, not really. It's motivating and it's challenging, and I think I've always loved challenges in my life. So I think it was probably one of the best things I ever did was quitting the day job and becoming an artist. Even if you're not making a ton of money, the lifestyle's nice. You get to make your own schedule, come into your own space, create your own things. So
Yes,
not having a boss is a good thing sometimes.
I would agree. Are you ever surprised at what comes out of you?
Yes, absolutely. Some quick paintings that happen really quickly. I'm like, man, I just love the way that looks. But again, with going in with no intention, when they do happen quickly, it's fun and exciting and surprising.
Jake, I love your stuff. I just want to walk around
Yeah.
and spend some time. Thank you for having me, and thank you for continuing to work even through the slumps because Fort Wayne and the world need your stuff.
Better times are coming too.
They are.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
are. So
And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, same.